Hi everyone, welcome to the Box Seat Special. Yes, it is Harness Racing New Zealand's annual awards for 2017-18. Michael Guerin, shortly this room will be full of people, full of anticipation about some of the results. There's a few close battles tonight, isn't there?
There surely is, Gregory. Big hi to everybody. Spoiler alert, this is not live. This happened on Saturday. But you're right, it's a night where we expect the horse of the year to be the biggest name in the industry, but stick around. There's a couple coming up you might make you go, ooh, didn't see that coming. And of course, Greg, these stay in the stud book in the sales catalogues for decades to come. Pretty important night, horse of the year.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to it. Stick with us over the next hour. We'll check out all of the best through a multitude of categories.
Here are the finalists for two-year-old pacing filly of the year.
Dracaris, Have Time, Kayla Marie, Princess Tiffany. And the two-year-old pacing filly of the year is Princess Tiffany.
Give this princess her diamond. Princess Tiffany takes a Sandy and Jan Yardley 2-year-old diamond.
When you got into harness racing, I know you guys set your standards very, very high, but nobody dreams of having an unbeaten two-year-old filly quite in the class of Princess Tiffany and one of two Group 1 winners you had for the season, along with Kayla Marie. That's pretty special stuff.
It is special, and it's been a great thrill this last season. Thanks to Matt, Mark and Natalie and the whole team at All Stars. And yeah, I guess unbeaten, you can't really do too much better than that.
I need to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me the truth. The week before you won the Breeders'... You always tell the truth. Oh, let's look at going for a while. The week before you won the Breeders' Crown final, beating the Australians, Sam, your son, played his 100th test for the All Blacks. So you were able to go to the first thing and then go to the final. What would you have done if that had been the same night?
Truthfully, I would have gone to the rugby.
Oh. What about you, big guy?
No comment.
Jules' day was special because you got the outside barrier draw and everybody's thinking, look, we know she's good, but it's hard to win at Cambridge on the outside barrier draw. That must be a moment you've watched a few times on the My Sky, because that was pretty dramatic stuff.
We have just about worn out that tape. No, that was an awesome race too, and we were very proud.
Gonna pop over here just to say a quick congratulations to you. You get to keep the trophy this time because I've got one over there already.
Oh, we'll share it.
Yeah. Obviously, you've been involved in the harness racing as long as these guys. It's a wonderful partnership to have, and now you've got a filly who could be, in the early stages of her career, one of the all-time greats as a 2-year-old heading into a 3-year-old. You deserve a horse like that. How does it feel?
No, this would be the highlight of any horse I've owned, having a share in this Princess Tiffany.
Well, mate, we hope it continues next year. We might see you back on the stage in 12 months' time. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The finalists for the Alabar 3-year-old pacing filly of the year are Better Joy, DeBarber, Ellie Mack, She's All Rock, Sociable, and the 3-year-old pacing filly of the year is She's All Rock.
She's All Rock, and she'll clinically extricate a diamond out of New Zealand at 151.9.
I know you've done this for a long time and you've driven some great horses, but there can't have been many more fun rides than She's All Rock around Cambridge, because she was like a little greyhound. She got on the bunny and she just kept going faster and faster and faster. It looked like fun. Was it fun?
Oh, it was, Mick. Yeah, she did it herself, and you know, her records spoke for herself through the season from Australia and here, and she was just a champion 3-year-old filly.
You had a very good filly. You had plenty of good fillies, but you had a good one in Al Mac, who might have been favourite for this award about May the 5th. Were even you staggered when a week later a filly like this could come out and beat her so easily? I know Al Mac wasn't at her best in the New Zealand Oaks, but this filly, what she did that night, must have surprised even you.
Yeah, I didn't really know that she was that good, but on that night she proved it, and then she went on to the jewels after that.
Okay, things didn't go the way you wanted to get back to Australia for the Breeders' Crown. Is she going to race on? And I believe if she is going to be so, it's going to be in North America.
Yes, she's in North America now. She's had an operation at Massey University, and they were quite happy with the way that went. So Chris Ryder decided to land her in the States, and she'll do a future racing there.
Congratulations, mate, and pass our congratulations on to Chris as well for the wonderful job in acquiring that talent.
Thanks, Mick.
Mark Purdon, trainer for a brief time of She's All Rock.
The finalists for the Lone Star Alexandra Park coming soon 3-year-olds pacing colt or gelding of the year are Chase Auckland, Pat's Delights, Sheriff, Sicario, and the 3-year-olds pacing colt or gelding of the year is Chase Auckland.
Chase Auckland and Natalie for the Derby, and back to doing what he loves best, winning feature races. Chase Auckland.
When you buy a horse to try and promote a stallion, you just don't even kid yourself it's going to go like this, because Auckland reacted, needed a good son. He got a champion one.
It certainly did. We'll have to thank Mark Purdon. Graham and I formed the syndicate and said straight away we'll do it as long as Mark will come on board, and Mark said yes. I believe in Auckland Reactor and I'll choose 2 for the syndicate, and so we relied on Mark's expertise. We loved the breeding of the horse. He came from a great family, so that's where it triggered off. It was through his skills to pick the best Auckland Reactor he said he saw in the country, and fluke-wise it's turned out that way.
When you start a syndicate, there's a lot of work that goes into setting up a syndicate, but now it's morphed into this little Chase Auckland family who go around the country together and enjoy each other's company. Sometimes there's more to winning races than winning.
Oh, it's been an incredible experience. I mean, all these people here are now my friends, and we're friends with each other. Unfortunately, not everyone could be here. Some from Australia couldn't be here and further down south, but it's been a wonderful experience, and I'm just the lucky one out the front, but all of them fantastic, great company.
I believe the horse starts work again on Monday.
He sure does. He's grown into quite a massive-looking beast. I was talking to Natalie earlier tonight. I said, Natalie, you better build up your biceps because he's just huge and full of himself. So, but I'd love to especially thank right through the whole system, because he's a hyperactive, energetic horse. Michael, that's Michael Purdon, Nathan, Michelle, Mark, Natalie, Poi, Dwayne Marfisi, Tim Williams, the whole lot have had a lot of input into this horse. That's why he's such a professional now. But he could have easily got away on them, but through their skills, it's just been wonderful.
Well, I'd like to thank you and Graham, because we know how important syndication is to harness racing. Congratulations, guys, on the victory of Chase Auckland.
The finalists for the trackside 4-year-old trotting entire or gelding of the year are Enheim, Habibi Inter, Ismok, Massive Metro, and the 4-year-old trotting entire or gelding of the year is Habibi Inter.
He will deliver the ruby, and Habibi Inter's in 156.6.
Congratulations.
So much.
I know everybody in this room loves their horses, but for you, I know they're like pets. I know, because I said to Paul Nean, would Julie sell this horse? And he said, I'm not even going to bother ringing her.
That's exactly right. Yeah, never. I love this horse. It's so special to me. And Paul Nean and everything he's done. He loved him from the beginning, and we just stuck it together, and I hope he just goes on to be what we think he will be.
I take it you'll be on the plane in the morning, back down to Christchurch, Banks Peninsula Trotting Cup tomorrow?
Exactly. My father won the Mocha Carrara race in 1977 with, and then I won last year with a Bibty Ivy, and I hope to do the hat-trick tomorrow.
What would possess a young lady as smart as you to get into breeding exclusively trotters? Because they can drive, I know you've had some success, but they can drive you mad.
Well, I was never really into horses because I was a dancer and I was petrified of them, but I've been in it since I was a kid because of my parents, and it's just a real thrill to carry on now and hopefully carry on and do something really good.
I can see how much this means to you. I hope he does something good for you this season too,
Thank
Geordie.
you so much.
Congratulations, Geordie. Habibi Inter.
The finalists for the Harness Racing New Zealand Marketing 4-year-old Pacing Entire or Gelding of the Year are AG's White Sox, Eamon Maguire, Jack's Legend, Star Galleria, Ultimate Machete, Vincent. And the 4-year-old Pacing Entire or Gelding of the Year is Ultimate Machete.
Ultimate Machete's going to him. Ultimate Machete, Tiger Tara. Jack's Legend driving the inside. Ultimate Machete won the free-for-all. Ultimate Machete won.
I ignored you earlier on because I knew you were going to win this one, but I tell you what, I reckon some people in the room probably didn't, because this is a hot category. To beat that bunch of horses when you list what they achieved, that's a hell of a thing for Ultimate Machete to pull off.
Oh, it's amazing. When it's sort of like a roll of honour, you know. It's just, I mean, how many of those are going to be in the Cup this year and battling out the finish? It's staggering, you know. One's at stud and got a full book, and then you look at all the other horses. I think they're all going to be in the Trotting Cup on that second Tuesday, and it's just incredible, really. It's just, who's who of racing really at the moment.
You've got the favourite for the Cup. This is not an unusual position for you. You've had the favourite in the Cup the last 2 years, but this is a different type of horse. Lazarus, almost bulletproof. This is a horse Mark and Natalie have had to kid to and cajole and look after his awfully big body to try and get them there. This is a real trainer's horse.
Well, it is. So he's at the right place, isn't he? You know, between Mark, Nat and the team, I'm sure they'll get him right. We've got Mark in the bike this year, so I mean, Natalie's done an outstanding job with him to date. So Mark's got pretty big shoes to fill, really. So not trying to put any pressure on him, but he's better step up, hasn't he?
Mate, you've got a great record on Cup Day, of course. He won the Sire Stakes as a 3-year-old. Last year he won the Free for All, so he's a Cup Week type horse. Was that the best moment of the season, or as a guy who loves to travel, as a couple who love to travel, was beating the Australians in the Golden Nugget at Perth, which is an awfully hard place to go to, but a place you've had a lot of success? Does that add a bit more to it? Does it make it a bit more special going that far to win a big race?
Yeah, it does, but it's Addington's still home, and winning the big races on big days like Show Day are still the special days for both Glennis and I. So it's nice to go and actually beat the Aussies in Aussie, but the highlight for us will always be Addington, whether it's Cup Day, Show Day, or the big days, really.
Good luck as you attempt to win 3 New Zealand Cups in a row with 2 different horses coming up in November.
Thanks, Mick. And just one little thing. This is, like, we get up here a lot, Glennis and I, and we're very appreciative of it, but this is our foundation syndicate, really. So we've been together for a long time. It started really badly, bought a very expensive colt, and it died before it made 2. So these guys have all stuck with us right the way through. So it's a real pleasure to actually get this and have horses of this calibre. Thank you.
Well deserved, Phil. Congratulations, guys.
The 5-year-old and older trotting mare of the year is Destiny Jones.
It's going to Blenheim the ordeal. Destiny Jones won it. Beat Amaretto's son, Bell's son, Endaria.
This is amazing, Mick, isn't it? 2 good old West Coast boys up here together.
Well, one good old West Coast boy. John, you've done a lot more for the coast than I have.
This horse winning this trophy is a great achievement for the hobby owner, the hobby trainer, and it should provide an inspiration for those people in our great sport. Ken Pointer, he operates the bar at Waterloo Raceway free of charge at their race meetings. Johnny Gould, he's in a wheelchair and lives on the track at Blenheim. And Dean Hunter, he's the trainer. She won 7 of her races, I think, trained out of Waterloo. She had her first start for Dean at no other place than Westport. You wouldn't have seen that, Mick, would you? Of course, no. And she eventually won a race and had some placings at Westport and almost won the West Coast bonus. Dean's other horse won it that year, Aditi, who unfortunately broke a leg the next time it came to Westport. But on behalf of Ken and John and Dean, thank you very much.
Good on you, John.
The finalists for the Canterbury Equine Clinic 5-year-old and older Pacing Mare of the Year are American Tart, Better Be Amazed, Dream About Me, Joe's Dream, and the 5-year-old and older Pacing Mare of the Year is Joe's Dream.
Party on, Joe's Dream. Bonnie Joan down the outside. A great tussle for Group 1 Glory. Who gets it? It's very, very tight.
I told you a year ago you'd be standing on the stage at the New Zealand Harness Racing Awards winning Mare of the Year with Joe's Dream. That might have been slightly hard to believe.
Yeah, I probably might have thought you had a bit too much to drink.
Good chance it'll be true later on, but it's actually happened to you right now. Now you're going to be the one having too much to drink. What a wonderful little girl she must be, because she just tries so hard. You can see it. You can see it in that video when she comes through in the passing lane. The little legs like a little cartoon character. You must just love her.
Yeah, she always gives 100%, even when things aren't right, and she's got good manners, and she's always thereabouts. So that's just sort of got her as far as she's got.
What did it mean to you, deadheading to win a Group 1 with these big stables with all these staff and all these big glamour horses? What did it mean winning a Group 1 here on the home track? Must have been a hell of a ride home and hard to sleep that night.
Andre and I and a couple of his mates, we went out in the town afterwards, celebrated. But no, it was amazing. Like, I still can't believe it. But yeah, she's sort of pretty special.
Tony Grading, I'll get you to pop over here too, mate, because this is a horse who you've obviously had the opportunity to train yourself. You've moved away from training. Amanda's done a super job with the horse, and now one of the more unlikely Group 1 winning older Mare of the Year, broodmare potential horses you could ever think of.
Yeah, she's done an amazing job. I thought, honestly, 2 or 3 win Mare, that I was wrong, luckily.
What was it like that night? Because Alexandra Park at the big stage, without being rude, you don't expect smaller stables with little tiny horses with little short legs to win the biggest races.
Yeah. Well, I was blown away. I thought she'd run 3rd, and I was celebrating that. And someone said, "No, you've won it," because it was that close. And I thought, "No, we're 3rd. That's good."
Mate, you've been where were you watching it from? Papakura or somewhere? Oh, okay.
Free drink.
Oh, forgot your glasses, did you? Okay. You've been in the game a long time. You've trained Jack Morris, who was a great horse. You deserved this. You deserved a horse like this, didn't you? Like, it's been a long time training a lot of horses, and you've educated a lot of people, and you've got a son you're proud of in the harness racing game. These moments don't come along very long. You've got one now.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think I've earned it.
Congratulations to the team with Joe's Dream, one of the fairy tales of 2017-2018.
All-Stars trained runners featured in the first 8 awards handed out on the night, including the Brecon Farms 2-year-old Gelding of the Year, Jules winner Enhance Your Calm. And Alan Newman collected the 4-year-old Trotting Mare of the Year award for Bonnie Highlander. Other award winners on the night included the very well-bred trotting filly Cheerful, another masterpiece who was the ultimate professional, New Zealand Trotting Derby winner Luby Lou. Her stablemate Winterfell won 5 from 7, including the Northern Derby and the Jewels, and 2-time Group 1 winner Utmost Delight. Stay tuned to the 2018 Harness Racing New Zealand Awards. After the break, we check out the moment of the season.
Son getting an inside run. Amaretto Son and Cherie Tomlin
forward. There's no hiding back there. Now you're a big TV star. It's one of those awards, I said it wasn't about winning money on the punt because nobody did. $91. You've won a Group 1 and you're from a family who loves their trotters. That was like the New Zealand Cup for you, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, for the whole family, it was such an emotional day for everyone. And I mean, we all probably didn't expect it. You know, Markola was our sort of main horse, but unfortunately he didn't make it on the day. But no, it was great for the whole family to be out there. And I'd just like to thank everyone who has voted for Emerito-san and myself. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
In the stabling area afterwards, and I see a lot of big race winners, I don't think I've seen somebody who was struggling to talk because every 10 seconds someone was patting you on the back, kissing you on the cheek, shaking your hand. One of the most popular wins I've seen. What was it like being there? People talk about these things when someone wins a big game of footy or an Olympic medal. When they have that moment, do you go into a bit of a buzz where you're not sure what's going on around you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was surreal at the time. It still is a wee bit, you know. Like, every time I watch the race, like, I get goosebumps and, you know, I just about cry, to be honest. It's, yeah, just amazing. And, I mean, I couldn't believe it at the time.
It's very much a family industry. We have a lot of people here who work with their family members, but you guys are a real family bunch. It's really almost like Granddad trains the horse, but just everybody has a crack.
Yeah, I mean, Mum and Granddad do a lot with the horses all at home, and they're the ones there every day working the horses and stuff. So, I mean, a lot of it goes to Mum and Granddad, which is great. And, yeah, no, it's great.
I'll slide across here, have a word to Mum. What about that, eh? Like, you've got the win itself, it's pretty amazing stuff, and then it's your little girl out there doing the job against the big boys in these big stables and with the big whip flourish at the end. It must have been a remarkable moment.
It was amazing. Hazel and I watched it on the roof of the car park and couldn't believe it really, Mick, to be honest.
Let's talk about your dad, because there's so much trotting in your family, and I know you won't sell any horses, you love them all, they're like family pets, and yeah, it's still in the paddock. So, look, is it one of those things where it's not about the money, it's about the love of the game? Because otherwise you would have sold Honey's Son or you would have sold Markola when the offers came in.
No, it's all about the love of the pony, and that's why I've got all the kids' carts ponies and all the race horses, and none of them are for sale.
Must be like Noah's Ark at your place. There'd be horses just running around all over the place.
I think he's got 11 or 12 brood mares down the back. Oh, God. And Tattoo's still there.
That moment when you're driving home with the truck, because you've driven home in the truck plenty of times and it didn't go your way. And when you're with trotters, more often than not, it doesn't go your way. What was it like when you got home, you sat down, poured yourself a wine or had a cup of tea, one or the other, and said to yourself, we won the big one, we won the Dominion? Because, as I said to Cherie, that's pretty much your New Zealand Cup, isn't it?
It was pretty unbelievable, actually. We sat on the couch, quite a few people turned up at home, and all Cherie wanted to know is how much she'd won.
So she could go shopping, no doubt.
Well, she gets the driving fee, we don't.
Now, he came back last week, or 2 weeks ago, had a little bit of an upset. Was it what happened there? Was it atrial fibrillation, or what happened there?
No, he's got it. We blood tested him. He hasn't got a virus, but he's got a cold. And Dad said today he worked him and he's still coughing, so...
And that's the other side of the family, though, because he disappointed, and yet Markola came back and won, who's the big star on track. So it must be a pretty amazing time out at your place. You've got horses who are legitimate open class stars in their own grade, and some years it hasn't been like that.
No, it's all... We breed them every year. I've got Markola's full sister at home, and I had an Australian ring me and asked me if he had any for sale, and so I told him about her, and he said, "You're just teasing me. Yeah. You don't sell the goldfish. You only sell, you keep the goldfish pond and the goldfish and have them all."
Well, you better keep winning. You might need a bigger farm with all these horses coming your way. Ladies, congratulations to you, to the family. Pass it, congratulations to Ken. The harness racing moment of the year, Emerito-san. Thanks, guys. And the winner of the 2018 Cadet of the Year, Ellie Barron. Congratulations. So you've gone from being relatively calm to now almost shaking. That's pretty cool.
No, I'm so sorry. I didn't expect to be winning, so it's awesome. Thank you very much, Ta.
There should be no silence in the car on the way home tonight now.
I actually plan on coming home a bit later than them, I think. So.
You've been told, Pops.
We're actually just staying across the road, so I should be able to walk gracefully across the road later.
Hey, congratulations. I know it's hard to start any job. We've all started in different industries, and any sort of job it's hard to start. I know family support helps, but all jokes aside, if you couldn't drive or you weren't hard working, you wouldn't be where you are, which is on the stage at the National Awards as our Cadet of the Year. And many people looking forward to see your progress in the years ahead.
Thank you very much, Mick. Hey, and just while we're here, I'd like to thank Graham Harris, who's our Airpark Canterbury sponsor. He actually decked us out in some really nice jackets and T-shirts that you would have noticed, and he come down and he's really supportive of us, and we're actually, on behalf of all of us, we're really, really grateful for the support that we've already had. We're young and up-and-coming drivers, and I know that Ben's doing very well already this season, and we hope to keep impressing you so that you can keep giving us a chance.
Ladies and gentlemen, outstanding advertisers for the industry: Olivia Thornley, Ben Hope, Luke Whittaker and Ali Barron.
The winners of tonight's Premier Award are a couple who epitomise harness racing's can-do attitude. They are both members of families with proud backgrounds in the industry, dating back decades, that include the breeding and racing of some of our most famous and elite horses. But for all their deeds separately in harness racing, it is as a couple they have made the greatest impact in our industry. As breeders, they have been involved both commercially and personally at the cutting edge and have tasted success at the highest level with their horses, mostly racing in their own ownership. They have won group races in New Zealand and Australia. They have also trained and driven with success. But their contribution to harness racing goes far deeper than that, and it is off the track where this couple have really excelled. They have not only acted selflessly as administrators right up to the executive level, but have been the backbone of three of the great pathways within harness racing that bring the next generation, and sometimes the more mature, into our great sport. Our winners tonight have been the driving force for courses like Kids Karts and the Cadet scheme. They were also the very first pioneers behind the amateur driving starting in New Zealand and helped foster it to the point that it is now a vibrant and crucial part of our industry, which has brought hundreds into our sport and extended the racing careers of many horses. So it is my great pleasure to present the New Zealand Racing Board Outstanding Contribution to Harness Racing for 2018 to Stephen Ann Phillips.
Thank you, Ken, for those lovely words, and a couple who so many people in this room have had personal dealings with, whether as breeders, but more obviously through the Cadet scheme and through the amateur drivers. And come over here. I know you hate doing this sort of thing, but don't hide back there, don't hide behind him. You've got a lot to be proud of. There's a lot of people in harness racing, whether, as Ken said, more mature people who get into amateur driving, right through to the cadets and the kids' karts, who wouldn't have found it as easy to be part of this industry without you. And you are a very hands-on person. You used to ring me and berate me and make me come to the cadet scheme and talk to them for free, and you've done it to everybody else in the room as well. Why do you work so tirelessly for harness racing?
Well, I'm a third generation and I love it, and everyone in this room is here because they love it, and it's given us so much. We've had a wonderful lifestyle because of it. We've won lots of races, we've travelled the world because of it, and most of all, we've met such wonderful people, and we've got so many friends that we get from this industry. We love it, we'll keep doing it.
When amateur driving was first mentioned to me, I thought, well, this is the stupidest idea I've ever heard of, Steve Phillips. And you said to me, no, it's going to be tote racing in a couple of years. And I thought, he's as mad as his brother, this bloke. But You were right.
Yeah, it did take a while, but we have got there. We've had a few tote races over the last 5 or 6 years, and I think the amateur movement does contribute something to the industry.
I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot of horses who quite simply wouldn't be still in the system in New Zealand without the amateur drivers.
Yeah, that's right. And also a lot of the people who drive as amateurs wouldn't be in the industry if it wasn't for that participation that they have.
How did this idea come to you and Anne? Because you were so passionate about it, I was almost scared to tell you it sounded silly, and you just kept berating people till they made it happen.
Well, we travelled overseas at one stage and seen the amateur movement in the United States, and we had some friends who were driving as amateurs at that time, and I just thought it was something that we really should try to implement in New Zealand, because we had that big pool of horses in the early 2000s when we started that were ideal for racing in those amateur races early on.
The joy it brings to people, the amateur driver situation, and their camaraderie it built up, not even you could have foreseen that, surely, because it just changes some people's lives. It gives them something to look forward to every Friday and Saturday, like when you're a kid playing footy or netball or anything like that.
It does, yeah. And well, we had seen it overseas, not only in the United States, but a subsequent trip to Wales. We ran across a lot of people who drive over there as professionals, but they really have other jobs, and they're like our amateur drivers. They came to New Zealand the year that Al Sue won the Inter-Dominions and drove in some of our amateur non-tote races in those days, but they had a ball, and we still have those friendships today with those people in Wales. I've driven in Belgium. We have friends over there right through the States. So it has that sort of appeal to a lot of people.
It is a wonderful movement, but I think one of your lasting impressions you've made on people was the school teacher role you've played with the cadets. Do this, sit up straight, make sure you turn up dressed well, don't bite your fingernails, listen to this person, listen to that person. You've helped form some people's career. You've given them skills for life. I know you don't like thinking about it in that way, but it's true. It must make you feel very satisfied when one of these youngsters goes out and does something with their lives.
Well, I've been doing it for so long now, Mick, that there's a whole range of them out there that I've been involved with, and it's wonderful. It's the best part of this industry because they're the people with so much enthusiasm. They wouldn't be doing this job. They're not as well paid as they might be in other occupations. They get up early, they work in all weathers. So for them to want to love to do this, it's just enlightening to be with them. It's inspiring to work with them. And you saw these 4 guys here tonight, and they're indicative of what our industry can produce.
I could see you smiling. I could see you sitting there beaming and smiling at 4 little prodigies of this thing. You didn't just start it, but were a huge part of it 20 years ago, maybe.
Actually, it's possibly even longer than that. I think I started in probably 1982.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very long.
Let's talk about the horses, because you come from the Grice family, which is a famous family in racing. Over all the years, what's been the favourite horse? What's been the horse for you that makes you go, well, I'm glad I was part of that?
There's been so many, and we've won some wonderful races, but probably the one that I loved the most was Windina here, mainly because I got to do most of the work with her. She didn't like men particularly, so I got to drive her and work. So I really enjoyed her the most. But when it comes to winning races, probably the Chariots of Fire with Ebony Gem, Wait for No One winning the Queen of Hearts. But there's been a lot of just maiden winners that I've just absolutely been delighted to be part of.
We go back to an earlier time before that, and I do give your brother a hard time, David, because he sends me the longest emails of anybody on earth. It's like getting the Bible in an email, which is ironic considering he looks like Jesus, but it's another story for another day. Between you boys, you set up National Bloodstock, and some amazing things happened. We couldn't afford those really good American stallions. We had the U Scots come through over the years, and some of them, and then you guys produced a Sockies Adam or something like that, and the breed leapt forward. And look, I know we give them a hard time, but David and you deserve some credit for that. You helped Americanise what we do down here.
Yeah, it did have a pretty significant impact on harness racing in New Zealand. and we just love being part of it. Dave had the ideas, but he is just an ideas person. He doesn't actually put them into practice too often. Not very well, anyway. So
I'm nodding.
So Anne and I stood the stallions, and we'd been to the States and bought some mares, and so we've experienced the industry at all levels. And we enjoyed being associated with horses like Soki's Adam and Butler BG and Shiola Hanovers and some wonderful mares as well during that time. And the impact on New Zealand has been pretty significant. You know, a horse like Lazarus comes from one of the foundation mares that at that time National Bloodstock brought back to New Zealand and to Ballabeth.
You've raised a wonderful family, you've got lovely children, but you must be very proud of what Anne has achieved, because that cadet scheme in the North Island would not have produced as many good young humans as it has without her.
Absolutely not. And the kids' carts. If you look at some of those kids that have gone through kids' carts, we've had some of them on the stage tonight that started their harness experience with kids' carts, ponies, and they've flourished. And we have people like even Zach Butcher up here who had a year in kids' carts. So that led on to cadets, and it's had a pretty major impact on the young people in New Zealand. And ongoing, we see it as being very important to have these people recognised and supported.
Often we come up with ideas and some people think we're crazy, but we have a lot of people to thank because they've actually helped make it happen. And probably among the really important people for me that over the years have been the Horsemen's Association in the North Island. Very, very supportive of the things that we've done with Cadet School. Also with a lot of them like Tony Grayling and quite a few others with the kids' carts. And also with amateur driving. And to be fair, amateur driving wouldn't have got off the ground without the North Island Horsemen's providing the support. We've had a lot of help too from Harness Racing New Zealand, from people that work there, from Christy Hill and Natalie Gamerson, and a lot of the people, and probably one of the most important people who has never said you can't do it has been Edward, and we really appreciate over the years, Edward, the support that you've given us. You probably, like everyone else, thought we were crazy, but at least you let us have a try.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Anne for having put up with my involvement in this industry for all these years. Thank you, Anne. It's something that I don't often say, but I do appreciate that you've been there to support things that I wanted to do. I'd also like to thank our three kids who have all participated in the industry. When they were young, they were out cleaning boxes and working on the farm, and they've all done the amateur drivers course, and so they're all horse friendly, but they now have other things in their life, jobs, kids, so they don't participate as fully as they used to. I'd like to thank the huge number of friends that I've made in this industry over the years, because as somebody said earlier, that's what this industry is about. It's about comradeship, and it's very important, I think, for all of us to recognise that we're in this together and we need to make this industry work together. The time on Harness Racing New Zealand's board I appreciate, because we did all work as a team, and it's important that that continues. So I'd just like to also thank you all very much for this award. It's much appreciated.
A wonderful contribution from Steve and Anne Phillips recognised there. Nathan Purden received his award on the night for the leading UDR junior driver, and Alabar's majestic son was named Trotting Stallion of the Year. Lazarus collected several awards on the night, and his dam Bethany was also recognised as Pacing Broodmare of the Year. 10-1 and owner Julie Magsell were award winners, and Breeders of the Year were the Whitelocks. Caroline and Braden, they had two outstanding fillies, of course, through Kayla Marie and Princess Tiffany. Still to come, the Premier Awards continue, including the announcement of the New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred Horse of the Year.
The Southern Harness leading junior driver of the year is Matt Anderson.
Sometimes the Junior Drivers Award can be won by people who are the best of the juniors, but they don't often compete in the open ranks. You have beaten Ben Butcher, who's a proper open driver, has won open class races, and Cherie Tomlinson's won third in that premiership, who's won a Dominion Handicap. You've had to earn this the hard way. It must make you feel very proud to be in that sort of company.
Yeah, no, obviously it's just a big reflection of the people that surrounded me throughout the years and developing into a driver, and yeah, just very grateful to be in this position. And like I say, it's just a reflection of the people I've been around and the coaching that I've received.
You didn't have the easiest start to your teenage years. Who were the people who helped you become the driver you are now?
I think a mixture of people, Mick, definitely Ray and Jill Copeland. They're not here tonight, but they've been a huge inspiration in my life, and definitely Mark and Natalie, that would be probably the big front and helping me get to where I am tonight.
43 wins for the season and a lot of success at different tracks all over the place for different trainers. Is there a win that stands out to you? It may not have been the biggest win or the fastest win. Is there a win that when you look back on last season stands out to you the most?
I'd probably have to be when I trained my first winner at Edenton. Obviously, it was a bit of a risk. I went to the sales 2 years prior to that and spent a bit of money, probably a bit too much money if you like, but yeah, I took a bit of a risk and yeah, things are just starting to pay off now.
Mate, a lot of people in the room are proud of you. Congratulations for being a leading junior driver last year.
Thanks very much, mate.
The Harness Racing New Zealand's leading driver of the year is Blair Orange.
The Golden Boy comes, all nuts and bolts. It is all beer and Skittles. Blair's broken the record.
Hell of a season, mate. 232 wins. When you start a season, that can't be the goal because that's a number which is just too big to try and fit into your head.
For sure, Mick. You know, I knew Dex was away for the first sort of 6 or 8 weeks on holiday, and I said to my wife, this could be our year, and we sort of had a joke about it and said, oh, don't be stupid, we're going to have to win 200 races to do that. And, you know, it was just a near-shot comment, but, you know, I got a lot of great support and from a lot of good people, so as the season progressed, it got a lot closer.
Was there a stage when you're jumping on a plane or you're in a car and you're driving somewhere and you're thinking, look, I'm stuffed. I'm genuinely not sure I can keep this up?
Yeah, time to time, mate, for sure. You know, I still had my jobs I had to do back at the stable with Ken, and, you know, so it was hard, but it was something I enjoyed. Like, I loved the travelling and enjoyed the driving so much, and things were going so well. So it all sort of snowballed, and Lisa was keeping things ticking over at home quite good. So, you know, it all worked out well.
This would be, and has been, a very hard award to win for any year, but Dexter had become such a phenomenon, winning for so many seasons in a row. Take Dexter out of this, you've won by 130 or something. But to beat someone you do call a close friend, but to do it when he is the modern-day champion of New Zealand harness racing must make you feel very proud.
Yeah, for sure. You know, like especially being a kid from a non-racing family, and, you know, we chipped away year to year, and, you know, to have this season unfold how it has it's really been self-satisfaction in a way, because it sort of proves that, you know, you don't need a racing background to succeed in something that you actually want to do yourself. But as I say, I had a lot of great support from a lot of great people, so you know, I'm very humble for that.
So when you were a kid growing up, you weren't a horse racing person. You're not from a family. Most people in this room, until you came along, had never heard the last name Orange involved in the racing industry. You were a good league player. Was it because you were too small to be a Kiwi that you decided to go to harness racing? Or was there a reason, was there something about it that you loved, which is the same evoking of competitive spirit that league brought out in you?
Well, look, league was my first option, and as you said, I was too small. I was playing Canterbury Seniors at 56 kgs, so it just didn't quite cut the mustard, and we went to Australia and had a few games over there, and, you know, sort of got a couple of nibbles, but never a contract. So
came back home and continued to play back in my hometown. But as I say, I was working for Tim Butt at the time, and then racing was paying the bills, so we just followed that avenue.
I asked Matt the same question before, and I suppose it's a lot more difficult for you because there's about an extra 180 wins in the bin. Of the 232, is there one that stands out more than the others? It may not have been the richest, it may not have been the fastest. Is there a win where you think to yourself, gee, that was a moment, that was a special time in my life?
For sure, Sheriff and the Derby, you know, so many people have said what a great race that was, and to be a part of it and to win it at the end was, you know, that was the highlight of my year. And, you know, to do it for Nigel, who's a very close mate, was very nice. And, you know, I probably stuffed it up in the Great Northern Derby a touch, and, you know, to come out and get things right in the New Zealand Derby was very satisfying.
Mate, congratulations on behalf of all of us.
Can I just while I stand here, you know, it's easy for me to take the accolades and do what I've done, and you know, travelled up and down the country and drive winner after winner here and there. But my wife sits with me here tonight, and Lisa, you've pretty much been a start-home mum from Thursdays to Sundays every week the whole year, and I couldn't have done it without you. So I love you for that. Thank you.
Biggerard's Horse and Hound leading trainers of the year are Mark Purdon and Natalie Rasmussen.
What an incredible season. Like, Lazarus is obviously there, and everybody talks to you about Lazarus, and it's this incredible thing, but take Lazarus away from this season, and Ultimate Machete and Heaven Rocks and Chase Auckland and Princess Tiffany. What motivates you to still get out of bed in the morning and do this? Because I know it's more to it than money. You seem to love having these people around you.
I think we just love the horses, Mick. You know, they're probably, you see them from day one and you see them improve and you get so proud of them. Even this morning, we were up really early and I think we'd hobbled 40 horses by 10 o'clock. And you see the little guys coming through and you see them improve. And then when they step out on race day and they can win a big race, you just go, oh my God, this horse come from nowhere to get to this. Yeah, so I think it's probably the horses for us.
Look, last year at the sales, you didn't take as many home by your own discretion. You said, look, we just don't want that many two-year-olds coming into this season. Is it still exciting? Is it still exciting when you get the two-year-olds who come through and they've got that little bit of personality and you can tell they're going to be a nice horse?
Paddy's exciting.
Definitely, Mick. You know, I look forward to the young horses and sort of moulding them and making them. And, you know, we go to the sales, we get outbid on plenty of horses. And, you know, I know a lot of people think we just bring home the best, but we get outbid plenty of times. And, you know, I think a lot more is the management. And you know, I just look forward to managing our horses and giving them the best opportunity. And it doesn't matter if they're not the best, as long as they give their best, you know.
For most people in this room, the New Zealand Cup is a dream, and you've obviously won it several times. You've won it the last 2 years. Is it still the pinnacle for you? Because what you did in Perth the last 2 years, but particularly last season with Lazarus, that's head-shaking stuff for most of us. But is the Cup still the big one?
It is in New Zealand, yeah. I mean, you look forward to the carnivals, and each carnival's got their pinnacle. But for here in New Zealand, I think the Cup, and you've got to compliment the Met on keeping the stake up and making it such a prestigious race, and the crowd you get, it's just the atmosphere of it all. It's just it's the greatest week of harness racing.
Now, we see your website, and it's great that you guys, the website's not about you two. All the staff members have their pictures on the website, they're listed. You guys talk about them a lot. You couldn't do this without good staff because you send horses to so many different places. I suppose they need your touch through other people's hands.
Oh, God, we've got so many good people around us, and I think that's you know, we've just kept building it up, and the people that we have around us now, Mick, honestly, Mark and I could disappear for 12 months and no one would know. The people we have are so damn good, you know, they're amazing. Right from the guys pre-training, breaking in, right through to our crew at home, they are just the best of the best.
Congratulations, guys, on behalf of everybody. Thanks for the joy you give us watching throughout the season in Australasia for those who stayed up late to watch Lazarus beat the Australians, and whether it be the Inter-Dominions or the Handicap or Heaven Rocks, and obviously what you've done to get him to the States as well. Congratulations on an incredible time in harness racing.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
The Brecon Farms Trotter of the Year is Speeding Spur.
Speeding Spur, he draws away, and this champion Square Gator 7 Group 1. Speeding Spur for the Road Cup.
He's been a wonderful horse to get this far with all the hassles he's got. It's sort of hard to believe he's only 7 years old. Is there an appetite, being a syndicate horse, to race him on past this season? Or if he gets to the million, is he a horse more likely to see go to stud?
Oh, we just play it by ear. I mean, he's ultra dominant as a racehorse, then we'd review it. It just, what it's like, you don't know. But, he'll tell us when he's finished racing.
Speak to me about John and Josh Dickey. This stuff is in their DNA. John, of course, comes from one of the great Waikato harness racing families. They've now moved to the property in South Auckland, and Josh is doing him proud as well. It must be a special feeling to be around two guys like those who the Road Cup to them, as I said to the Tomlinsons before about the Dominion, that's the New Zealand Cup.
Yeah, look, they've been very emotional when they won the Road Cup, as all of us were. I mean, John especially, and I talked to him last night. We're talking about the preparation of the horse for these races coming up, and I said, have you ever trained a millionaire before? And he said, no, I hope I have. Going to be by the end of the season. And he's really focused on that, and both of them as father and son team do a fantastic job. And Josh does a great job driving. He's a heady driver. He thinks a lot about what he's doing, and complemented by his father, who's got a really good level head on him, and they're fantastic trainers. We can't speak more highly of them.
Mate, our congratulations to you, the syndicate, and of course to John and Josh. Please pass that on to them on our behalf.
Thanks very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trotter of the Year is Speeding Spur.
The New Zealand Bloodstock Standard Bred Horse of the Year is Lazarus.
Get Nasser on the phone. He is in another orbit. Lazarus does it again.
I just said to Natalie as we walk up here, as a syndicate and as the past owners of Lazarus, this will probably be the last time we actually get up here for any accolades for Lazarus. So it does put quite a big lump in the throat, to be fair. I think the next time we'll see him is when he becomes back here as the Stallion of the Year. And probably, I wouldn't think it'll take him that long once he arrives down here. It'll be 7 or 8 years' time. So that'll probably be the next time we see Lazarus recognised here in New Zealand. So it's quite a moving moment. I mean, he's given us a hell of a ride. Mark, your management, and Natalie of the horse has been just unbelievable. The tough time we went through over the sale, and when he was vetted, the guys in America didn't believe how good his joints and everything were, and I think they actually had a second set of x-rays done, and that comes down to the reason why he was in the condition that he was at 5 was because of that outstanding management that's actually done out there at All Stars, and Mark and Nat's and all the team's attitude of horse first. So that speaks volumes, for All Stars. You think about memories, and I still think the greatest run, and I said before, is the best win for, I think Glennis and I definitely, were the Trotting Cups, because there's nothing better for Canterbury bred, and it's all you aspire to do really, is to get out on that stage on that second Tuesday. But when he runs second, and really in Perth earlier this year, I mean, that's probably got to be the greatest run Lazarus ever put in. And I know that I was standing with Trev and I are looking at each other thinking, shit, 3 wide and we're going round and round this merry-go-round over there. I think we're in a hell of a lot of trouble. And it really wasn't until about the last 20 metres that we got nutted. And I know I was horse after it. And I think all of us were, you know, and I still see that as probably the proudest day that, although we didn't get on the rostrum that day with him and he didn't actually win, he made us incredibly proud. So I hope you've all enjoyed him. We certainly have, and it'll be highly unlikely we ever get a racehorse like that again, because he's a horse of a lifetime, he's a horse of a generation. And let's just hope he sets those North American tracks alight over the next 4 to 6 weeks as he goes through the Red Mile and through to Breeders' Crown. So thank you, everybody, and thanks for all the support that the Lazarus team behind us here have all had. And if anyone else wants to power it on, Mark, it'd be nice if you actually said a word or over Laz, but thank you.
Look, he's been a horse I've been proud to have, and it's like I said, we don't always take home the best, but I think the management of a horse is really important, and Lazarus is just a unique horse. We keep our colts out with the geldings through their life, and until they get to a point where they're going to cause problems and getting a little bit too bullish. But Lazarus was just a unique horse. He was always a gentleman to work with, and he spent most of his life with Smolder. And even when he turned 4, I said to Sean McNulty, who looked after him, I said, just keep an eye on him. We're getting into spring, and things will change for Lazarus this year. He'll know he's a stallion now, and probably his attitudes will change, so just keep an eye on him. And he never changed. They went out to the paddock. Lazarus would go out to the paddock and he'd run up to Smolder, he'd give him a sniff, and it was almost as if it was sort of a good morning, and they'd part ways, and Lazarus would graze one way and Smolder would graze the other. He was just a beautiful horse. He'd never kick anyone, he'd never bite anyone, and you'd go on the track, you'd put him in the cart, you'd walk out the barn, and he'd almost talk to you and say, what are we doing this morning, boss? He was a champion. And I always think we have a big bucket of molasses there, and you could walk him out of the wash bay, and if this horse is drinking out of the bucket, he'd just put his head in and just fit in. He wouldn't worry about swinging around trying to kick a horse or putting his ears back trying to bite a horse. He was just a gentleman, and I always think if he was human, he would be the most humble person, and that was just him. He was just in everything you did with him. He was a champion. He was a pleasure to be around. He was a privilege to train, and I just love him. So I hope he comes back here, he gets support, and he turns out like his father, a champion stallion. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the wrap-up of season 2017-18 New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred Awards. Michael Guerin, in terms of the results, well, Lazarus picked himself not only as Pacer of the Year, but Horse of the Year, and when you had the body of work that he had over that period, it's not surprising.
Look, and it's easy to be sort of like, oh, well, we knew that was coming about it, Greg, but it's still a remarkable era we are in harness racing. Horses like him, Bettor's Delight, that domination, the Purdon domination, Blair setting his own record. A couple of special awards tonight. Really cool to see Cherie Tomlinson and the Ford family get the moment of the year. Pretty hard to argue with that. And Joe's Dream winning Mare of the Year for Amanda Kitty and Andre Putama, their first Group 1. That was kind of special and a deviation from the norm, Greg. So a lot of fun. And of course the main human award going to the Phillips family, who have done so much for so many people in harness racing. A great night to be part of.
Yeah, and to see them and the emotion and what it meant to them to be able to get that award. A couple of awards that could have gone either way, particularly the one I want to focus on here.
I know what's coming out of your mouth.
The four-year-old award.
I voted for Vincent. I did. Yeah. I voted for Vincent. Who did you
Me
vote
too.
for?
Exactly the same.
I thought the Auckland Cup would get it for him. What in a category. Eamon Maguire, Star Galleria, Jack's Legend, ran second in the New Zealand Cup. And of course the Auckland Cup winner beaten by Ultimate Machete, who won Group 1s inside a month on both sides of the Tasman. In fact, as far apart as you can win Group 1s, Christchurch to Perth. So he gets that one. Must have been close over Vincent.
Yeah, and the age group awards, won predominantly by the All-Stars team, continuing their domination. Just one that I wanted to touch on was Speeding Spur and him getting to the top of the trotting ranks. And when you consider what he's been through injury-wise, to grab a couple of Group 1s and the ultimate Group 1 for him over our back shoulder here, the Rowe Cup.
Yeah, and that probably won him the award. I think Temporale probably led that award until about May. And I think he needed to win 2 of the last 3 big ones, Trotting Championship, Anzac Cup, or the Rowe Cup to get there. He won 2 of those. That's going to be important for him, Greg. That goes in the stud book for the rest of your life, Trotter of the Year. And, of course, he is going to go to stud at some stage at Woodlands. A varied night. Some of the big names, yes. Some of the smaller names, yes. Another highlight also, the cadets, the standard, the presentation, the way the cadets handled themselves, Greg. A lot of fun as we now start it all again, only about 6 or so weeks from the New Zealand Trotting Cup, mate. I'm now starting to get excited seeing those videos about what's coming up next.
Now, the box seat continues next week. You won't be there. You're travelling overseas and you're going to have an opportunity to catch up with the great Lazarus.
I hope so. I'm hoping to go to Jimmy Tactor's property in New Jersey and see Lazarus. And if we do, we're going to get some footage for you and bring it back and show you how they do things different from us. But Matt Cross will join you next week for the box seat. It's going to be awesome because we're getting closer and closer to Cup Day 2018.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the awards here tonight, and we look forward to what should be another stellar season, of course, 2018-19.